Longwood is home to 9 social sororities, 7 social fraternities, 6 NPHC Divine 9 fraternities and sororities, and many other educational, service, and music organizations. Many people who consider themselves as part of the queer community are involved in Longwood's Greek life. Longwood's only advertised as all-inclusive sorority, Gamma Rho Lambda, was a social-based sorority for the queer community. Unfortunately, due to a lack of advertising and lack of support Longwood gives to sororities and fraternities, Gamma Rho Lambda has recently been dispersed. On Longwood's campus, there are no advertised safe spaces for the queer community in general. People of the queer community do not feel welcomed in sorority and fraternity life because of the stereotypes and social media biases of what it looks like to be a part of these communities.
Greek life is not advertised to be gender inclusive. Fraternities and sororities can often be displayed as single sex, which coincides with the assumptions that all of these fraternities are arranged this way. There can be pressure to conform to heteronormativity because of the traditions and language used in Greek life. Fraternities and sororities can provide support to people in the queer community by providing and advertising inclusivity in their organizations. Also, due to the history of the United States and some of the prominent ideologies within it, there has been racism, sexism, and homophobia in the foundations of Greek life, and intersectionality can be overlooked. It is important to understand how these structures and history of a society impact people individually now and historically, specifically with factors such as race, sexuality, and gender. Now we take a look at how definitions of gender play into fraternity and sorority life. Several interviews were done with people who identify as queer. We asked them some questions in hopes to look more into their personal experience of being openly queer in the fraternities or sororities.
Well, SAI was a music fraternity, and I was in a lot of music classes. So I figured, I like singing during class, why not be with a group of people that like music as much as I do?
They were more open, but also after meeting some other members in the fraternity, I felt safer rushing them than
I joined APO because I wanted to do community service and give back to Farmville, sort of.
They try their best, but the club for the community really picked up until like 2019.
I think it needs to be more quote unquote promoted.
I think Longwood simply doesn't acknowledge safe spaces for queer people in general. I can't say as a gay man that I've ever felt welcomed at any fraternity here. And I think that that's in part to Longwood not creating safe spaces.
I'm not sure, actually.
Nope.
APO doesn't have a DEI chair right now.
So it was very easy to be open to who I was, what I liked, my gender.
They're perfectly okay with it. Older alumni say anything to me that we will immediately walk out of the room and just not give them the time of day.
No one's ever been overtly homophobic towards me. Microaggressions have happened. They're usually inadvertent and people don't realize that they're doing them.
It would be beneficial if it was considered the norm of genderless language.
It's a fraternity, we're brothers, but also it's kind of siblings could also be a term that's also used if we really wanted to, but I think for the most part it's perfectly okay if you identify as a non-binary person, like I do as a he, they.
Honestly, any kind of reference to religion or God or American nationalism is not the most comforting thing for non-heterosexuals. I would say those kinds of words in our initiation could be seen as not the most inclusive. And I would prefer if it wasn't a part of it.
As you have heard in the interviews, there's a need for more diversity and inclusion chairs, and the need for more secular and gender-inclusive language in the rituals. Longwood faculty and students of the queer community in sororities and fraternities should begin to discuss an action plan of how to create safe spaces that are inclusive of all.